Flat earthers said for years, flat earthers. Now this is the beginning of what I call an absolute statement, or what is known as an absolute statement. Flat earthers, as in all of them, said for years, almost a decade, that there was no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. That's just not true. You know what I mean? Like if it was true, then it would have been said, I've heard flat earthers say, I've heard some flat earthers say, or the flat earthers that I listen to, I have heard them say. But using an absolute statement like that is just easy to just completely tear apart, because I consider myself in that group. And I'm telling you right now, I've never ever said there's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, to the best of my knowledge. I don't ever remember, standing on that rock. But regardless, there's many flat earthers that I know and that I've spoken with that have never, brought up a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So you're speaking for all of the flat earthers, okay? And specifically, it's unwise, because you're listening to a small portion. You're listening to your own algorithm's tiny little circle of influence that it shows you whenever you're looking this up or trying to find stuff about the flat earth. You're looking at a tiny fraction of all of the people that have this particular or share a similar perspective or a world view, how they actually view the world. All right. So, unwise. I'll just say that off the top, okay? Because it's just not true. Showing that the flat earth model is just not possible. Showing that the flat earth model, the model, that's what I wanted to say, right? So there's a difference between a model, which is sort of what you see behind me, and a map, okay? They're like, oh, the map is wrong, the shape is wrong, it's not circular, it's not flat, it's none of that stuff, but they're talking about the model. This is the model behind me, okay? The sun and the moon are included in the model. They're not included in the map. All right, they're a part of the heavens, not a part of the earth. Mapping has to do with cartography and the earth itself, okay? You're not mapping out anything that has to do with the firmament or the dome or the heavens or the sky or the luminaries or anything. So it has nothing to do with the model, the map. So anytime you hear these people saying the flat earth map is wrong, there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, that doesn't mean that the map is wrong. That just means that the concept, the idea, and the theory that people have put forth about the luminaries is wrong, or it seems to be, or it requires further investigation or justification or research or theorizing or whatever it may be. The flat earth community, another quote, the flat earth community as a whole, they have no idea what to do with this. That's another absolute statement, because I'm a part of that community and I know exactly what to do with it. I disregard it completely because I'm not worried about the 24-hour sun. That's not something that I'm actively studying at the moment. I've had enough research into the plane of existence and the oceans and the shape of this world to where I am already moving on. And it's not going to be hinged upon any one thing. In addition to that, I have never believed that the burden of proof is on the flat earthers. That cosmology is ancient. That cosmology, when you look at today, going all the way back to the dawn of, history, or we'll say 6,000 years ago, approximately, that's the majority belief across time. That's the majority cosmology. Anybody that hears that, that's academically minded, they're going to immediately regurgitate some school teaching about one or two influential Greeks or, people from a few hundred years ago that really put that theory forth, as if that represents all of Rome, who practiced magic and whatnot. They really pick and choose, like a salad bar, what they're going to believe in as far as these educational giants whose shoulders they stand upon. Sometimes, like, they'll quote Pliny the Elder. But then whenever I quote Pliny the Elder for support of literal monsters existing in this world during the medieval times, they're like, oh, well, they were just unintelligent back then. They had no common sense. They didn't know what they were talking about. We're so much more intellectually superior than they were. That's just picking and choosing, okay? You're at an intellectual salad bar. All right, you're choosing what you like from a particular author, like Pliny the Elder, but you're disregarding the other stuff that he said. You know what I mean? You're holding him high esteem over here, and over here he's a lunatic and a tinfoil hat wearing, uneducated person or whatever. All right, so anyways, Marv. Hey, what's up, Marv? Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Vibes is awesome. Thank you. What's up? Good to see you. Get This Work is in the chat. All right, I'm going to continue on with these quotes. And I'm just commenting, okay? This is just my thoughts. So they about this video where they sent the flat earthers to Antarctica, they said, for flat earthers, their representatives. Now, this is another thing that I don't vibe with. Whenever people tell me who my representatives are, just because somebody else has a similar belief system or a similar worldview or whatever, that doesn't mean that they absolutely are like the ones that we all voted for to represent all of us. There's no president of flat earth. What are you thinking? Okay, we're all individual, independent, hopefully, researchers that are walking our very own paths, oftentimes blazing a trail. So you don't get to just scoop up a couple of flat earthers out of the probably millions, if I was to guess, that exist across the earth and say, oh, they represent whatever they think, whatever they feel, whatever their experiences are, that represents all you guys. No, it doesn't. Okay, and that's unfair for you to do that. Let's see. So here's another quote. He's talking about the academics that were on this trip, okay? And I'm just going to call them academics for now. We were very humble on the globe side. We were very humble. Are you serious? I have seen little to no videos ever of any academic mascot being humble when it comes to the concept of flat earth. I've met people in real life that have, basically like just met me, not knowing what my cosmology was, and even made jokes about flat earthers. I hope, as long as you don't believe that the earth is flat, or some garbage ass comment like that, okay? He says, we were very humble on the globe side. Well, maybe during your trip, you guys were cordial with one another. However, I've seen many of those participants and the people that went, and I've seen their videos in the past and afterwards, and they're trolls. Just plain and simple. They're just trolls. They're like, they're, to use a metaphor, they remind me of like the stereotypical big dumb jock that picks on the little nerds that are playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, okay? That's their channels. That's their whole persona. That's their bread and butter. That's their money makers. You go and see these other guys who claim to be professors and science teachers and stuff like that, when really they're just talking heads like me on YouTube, okay? And I really, even if they had credentials, I would talk to you about credentials as well, okay, and the Wizard of Oz and stuff. But these people are anything, from my experience, from what I've seen, and specifically the people that were involved, they're anything but humble, okay? They go around calling so many different names. I'm going to give you some examples of how humble they are, all right? Or some of these people that, you know what I mean, really want to slam on the flat earthers. We were very humble on the globe side. We weren't rubbing it in their faces or anything like that. And yet, these people have done like, what, 20 videos since then, rubbing it in their faces effectively? You know what I mean? Here's the thing. In this day and age, right, when people are so open-minded and so politically correct and don't want to step on anyone's shoes for what they identify with or how they see the world or what's important to them or whatever, how are you going to let people get away with being intellectual bullies and basically just picking on and degrading, downplaying, dismissing, and so on and so forth, other people who have a different cosmological view, a different perspective, a different experience and reality? That's just their belief. That's how they see it so far. You know what I mean? How are you going to allow the world to be so free when it comes to that, but then you condone the intellectual bullying and picking on other people that just have a different perspective than you do, who see things differently than you do? You know what I mean? I don't condone that. And I don't see any humility, okay? And usually whenever people have to say that they're humble, usually to me indicates that they're not, all right? Humble and humbleness is a quality to me that brags in its doing, okay? It needs no, declaration, basically. And then they they keep talking about their model. They keep saying things like their model, them, they're barreling all of the people who have alternative cosmologies, flat earthers, concave, convex, whatever it may be. They're putting us all in one big barrel. and saying, this is our model. This is the model. When I've seen, my experience is that most people have come right out and said, I don't know, I'm just using this for simplicity. Okay, I'm still researching, I'm still putting it together, but this is what we have so far, right? So I mean, don't get me wrong, there's other people out there that are flat earthers or whatever, alternative thinkers or whatever, that are just like the academics that I don't support. Okay, there's people out there that say globetard. There's people out there that put down academics when we were all a part of that system, and we wouldn't have enjoyed it if people put us down, right? I don't support that either. Okay, there's what happened to philosophy. Why is it that people get ridiculed in this day and age for being philosophers, for exercising philosophical freedom to think and see things how they like and perform thought experiments and discuss their own findings and perspectives and stuff? Now, don't get me wrong. There's a line to be drawn when people start going door to door and trying to push their beliefs onto you and tell you that you're doomed, or you're a bad person, or you're going to hell, or you don't believe in my God, or, you know, whatever it may be. I don't like people pushing their beliefs or projecting them onto others. I like people having the freedom and exercising the freedom to discuss their opinions and their experiences freely, as long as it's done tactfully and out of kindness. You know what I mean? It just blows my mind that people do this kind of stuff and think that they're on the cool people side. Now let's talk about Professor Dave. Okay, as a human, just as a person, I never met this dude, but I don't like him. Like, he's got a terrible attitude, and it just irritates the crap out of me that he calls himself professor. Okay, so let's talk about this Professor Dave. First and foremost, this dude has millions of subscribers. And his channel is a front for, I'm going to teach people science and academic things or whatever. You can come to my channel and learn things or whatever. When in reality, none of his subscribers, comparatively speaking to like his millions of subscribers, none of them watch any of his freaking teachings. You know what they all tune in to watch? When he starts slamming on and bringing gossip into everything and insulting flat earthers. That's how he makes his money. He's like a stand-up comedian against the flat earthers. He's a heckler. He's a troll against the flat earthers. That's his channel. Everything else is just pretend. It's pretense. It's to pretend like he's got some credibility whenever he does, you know, a video with 1,200 views 5 years ago about hydrogen bonds or whatever it is. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching your crap when it comes to that. And I really don't like how this dude talks to people. Oh, what's up, Fawn? Hey, good to see you. We got Joe Wayne, who says, I love your spirit, brother. Your heart is pure. Been a follower for about 6 years now. God bless you. Well, thank you. Browsy, you and me both. Professor Dave brings... I know, man. I have to put myself in check and do like a self-diagnostic whenever the dude's name even comes up, okay? That's how toxic he is to me, personally, okay? So let me show you some examples here. All right. So these are some quotes from Professor Dave, and keep in mind the whole analogy of like the big dumb jock, you know, picking on the nerds playing Dungeons and Dragons. This dude says the sun was circling above them, just like anyone who isn't a complete moron knew was going to happen. So basically, if you don't agree with his views or whatever, you're a complete moron. Wow, good job being a teacher. I can see why you're not in a school actually teaching other people, okay? Because they don't want people that talk like that to other humans, because some of us value things like respect. This guy will openly say, oh, I don't have to respect anyone that has some dumb belief system that I don't believe in. I get to make fun of them. I get to put them down. I get to, you know, walk that gray area, which me personally, I don't believe in the law or anything. Like, I'm more of an anarchist and a Wild West kind of guy. But since we have the law, I feel like that should be one of the things that's outlawed. Okay, all this whole gray area of talking trash on the internet. Like, man, you people know, you know, that's the only place that happens. Now, here's another quote. There you go, flat earthers. Case closed. The sun is directly overhead at midnight, illuminating everything when you think it should be all the way under the other side of the pizza land, leaving them in total darkness. So do you see how he is comparing the plane of existence, right? This particular idea, then this is just a concept right behind me, okay? But he compares that to a pizza and really puts emphasis on how stupid that is. Like, we all actually believe we're living on a pizza or something that's pizza-like, right? Listen, buddy, in your own academic models, everything in your universe starts out as a frickin' disc, okay? So everything is spinning around. You got rings that shouldn't even be there. You got disk and spiral galaxies and stuff. Okay, that's the natural way of things. Then you start inventing reasons why you have space balls and crap. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, that's right. So he starts insulting the model, trying to compare it to a pizza. Look, your own mascots, your own cartoon mascots in the form of Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse. Grass-fed bison or whatever that was. Somebody said that. That dude called it the shape of a pear. Okay, so he actually came out publicly on television and literally said he thinks it's the shape of a fruit or similar to the shape of a fruit, and he used a pear. He says it's pear-shaped. Okay, you people can't get your own stories straight. Case closed. All the way on the other side of the pizza land. Look, man, you clearly, as much flat earth videos as you watch, it seems to me like you don't even have the vaguest concept of where most flat earthers in general think that the sun is going or how it works or what it's doing or whatever. Next one. Flat earthers don't understand how a green screen works since they can barely tie their own shoes. It's a joke. It's a crude joke from some guy who's just a crude guy. He's not a professor. Okay, this dude doesn't work at a college. Okay, don't let the title fool you. It's clickbait. They don't know how to tie their own shoes. Really? You're just being a dumb jock at this point. Okay? You're basically just being an intellectual bully. You're up on your high horse. Now, because someone else doesn't see things the way you see them, you get to call them names. You get to insult them on many different levels. All right, hold on, let me jump in the chat. We got Wilfredo, says, Jay, do you believe in stars and the Eagle Nebula? I don't know much about the Eagle Nebula at this moment. But yes, I believe stars are little points of focus under the dome. All right, next up. Oh, thank you, Butterfly. That was kind of you. Yes, use @J, and it'll highlight on my side. Oh, I know. I actually met Fawn Marie. So she took me out with her family to go eat at a Mexican place in Denver one time. I'll never forget that. That was fun. All right, cool. Let me jump back in here. Vibes of Cosmos. Yes, everyone keeps bringing that up. I love his work, actually. I think that's a great example of a channel that thinks outside the box. And you'll understand everything? Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, cool. So back to these little quotes. We're on Professor Dave at the moment. Yeah, so you get to just tell people they don't know how to tie their shoes, call them dumb, insult their intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, that's not tolerated if it was a person talking about another person's race. It wouldn't be tolerated about one person in the world we live in talking about a person's identity or whatever. So why is it, and how is it even tolerated that you can get away with bullying and putting down and insulting and humiliating or degrading or attempting to another person because of the way they see the shape of the world? It's sad. It's messed up. And even more sad to me is that, you know, you've got all those subscribers that probably feel similar to how you feel. I'll tell you this, though. I feel like most of those subscribers and most of those views actually come from flat earthers. I don't think that the mainstream is really researching the concept that much. I think it's the same flat earthers, you know, millions of flat earthers across the world that are constantly watching to see what the other side is presenting and see how they're presenting them and what light they're in or whatever. So don't toot your own horn too much, buddy. You should probably be thanking us for all of the views. He calls flat earthers things like pathetic, boners. He says, shut up all you assholes for good. That this experiment shut them all these assholes up. See, like, dude, you wouldn't say that to a person's face. I could tell, okay? I'm good at reading people. You definitely would not. So why are you saying it on the internet? Why are you blasting people personally on the internet? That shows so much about your character and what kind of a person you are. And I'm sure you don't even care because you're evil. Okay, from my perspective, that's freaking evil, man. And evil people usually don't care. They usually, you know, stand pretty resolute in their evil, selfish, you know, justifications of their evil actions and putting other people down and stuff. Morons and stuff. Let's see. Oh, and whenever flat earthers do attempt to explain the 24-hour sun, when they're like, okay, well, let's see how that, you know, how could that work, right? Which I think is a reasonable question, right? He just calls their ideas crap. That's funny. That's just crap. That's just dumb, as some people would say. A big holy mountain in the middle of the world? That's just dumb. Yeah, nice intellect. Good intellectual comeback, buddy. That's just crap. All right, well, you lost that debate in my book. Last quote from the alleged professor, okay? There's nothing more... there's a basketball player called the Professor, too. All right, just keep that in mind. He's like an N1 basketball player. He's pretty damn good, all right? But he's definitely not a professor, okay? Excuse me. Let me take a sip of water.